Hi guys, Jen Magana with Convicted Hearts, and if you have a convicted heart, you are in the right place. Today I'm going to share with you a story that caught my attention. I normally, for those of you who might be new to the channel, I normally don't speak very much on true crime issues. I have before, but normally I speak on my own true crime experience within my family and my own life. But today I'm going to speak about this because this is a case that caught my attention and I found especially disturbing due to many reasons. Before I read this article and then give you my feelings on it, I want to just give you a trigger warning. Any of you who may have a reaction to certain types of abuse, especially involving children, this probably is not for you. I feel like this is an important topic, and I know these type of videos are very touchy to get into, but I feel like this is really important to get out there and have our community be aware of stuff like this. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and read this article and then I'm going to give you my feelings on it afterwards. So stick with me. Texas brothers and friend kill stepdad accused of SA abusing their sister, say cops. Let me just scroll down. There is a picture of them, their mugshot, it looks like. I'm going to put that in the thumbnail, so that's what you guys will see. And it says Alejandro Trevino, Christian Trevino, and Juan Edward Melendez are accused of beating Gabriel Quintanilla to death. Okay. Two brothers and their friend were arrested after they allegedly pummeled their stepfather to death after he was accused of SA abusing their sister in a Texas trailer park home, a report said. Alejandro Trevino, 18, and Christian Trevino, 17, became enraged after learning of the disturbing allegations against their 42-year-old stepdad, Gabriel Quintanilla, and they confronted the man last week at his home in Far, I believe it's pronounced Far, Texas, says KGRV reporting. Quintanilla, who had an arrest warrant for SA abusing another child, was accused of inappropriately touching his own 9-year-old daughter. The brothers fought with Quintanilla at the park, and all three left before another physical dispute broke out at a second nearby apartment complex. Juan Eduardo Melendez, the 18-year-old pal of Trevino's, joined in on the second fight, authorities said. The three teens then left to an apartment complex, only to return a short time later, ahead of a third beating, police said. The trio found Quintanilla injured and walking alone on the road. The man was then beaten to a pulp with brass knuckles, said police. The suspects allegedly placed Quintanilla in the bed of a pickup truck and dumped his body in a field in McAllen, where his body was found last Thursday, which would have been like January 20th. Melendez and Christian Trevino were charged with capital murder, aggravated assault. Police said Alejandro Trevino was charged with aggravated assault and engaging in organized criminal activity. And I believe that's the end of the article. This is the New York Post that I'm reading from. I'll tag that or put it in the description box. Okay, this caught my attention first of all because when I saw the picture of the boys, and I say boys because I literally have kids this age, two of them, the brothers, and there's no other way for me to explain it to you. You guys will see in the thumbnail. Other than they look like skinny little teenagers with their little Edward haircuts, and they don't even look grown. The other boy is larger in size than them, but you can tell that he's extremely young in his face. I feel like these charges are massive, considering this is something that happened, it seems like anyways, from everything that I've read, in the heat of the moment. All the articles that I found and the news briefing where the police chief was speaking, they were saying that the 9-year-old came running outside of their trailer home, screaming and saying to her mother that her own father had been inappropriately touching her. And if I'm not mistaken, it sounds like that is the point where the boys found out what was happening as well. So that brings up to me And now I'm not in Texas and I don't know the law. I'm not a professional. I'm just giving my opinion. Keep that in mind. That brings up to me the whole feeling of, was this something that happened in the heat of passion, you know? And I know the definition of that here is, okay, the heat of passion. Let's see, killing occurs when the accused intends to bring death of a human being, and when the accused was provoked by one or more acts or words that would provide an individual who does not possess ordinary control. Excuse me, guys. Can't read my own handwriting sometimes. Under certain circumstances. I could definitely see this being a circumstance where you could not control yourself and you're not in your right mind. Finding out that your 9-year-old sister is being inappropriately touched by her own father. This is extremely, extremely disturbing. I can't believe this guy was walking free. There was a warrant for his arrest for touching at least one, possibly more other children, because where the deputy police, I think it said, was talking, he said there was cases. He didn't say case. He said cases from years prior. So that makes me believe that there was more than one even. And these were not including his own daughter's claims that day of what her father had been doing. If these boys heard that on the spot right there, I can see how they would have completely lost their minds and just started beating him. The problem is, in my mind, from everything that I've read and watched, they've made it very clear that there was like 3 separate attacks. That there was the attack first at the trailer park where they lived, then the second attack at the apartment complex where they found the creep walking and injured, and then I guess the third would have been probably when they loaded him in the back of their pickup truck and dumped his body in the field that he was found in. They are claiming that brass knuckles were used by one of the individuals, and that is probably where the assault with a deadly weapon comes from. I saw that one of them were being charged with that. Only 2 were being charged with the capital murder, which is extremely scary, especially in the state of Texas. Also, during the news briefing that I watched where they were in court, 2 of them had mentioned that they were not even U.S. citizens. They were citizens of Mexico, and they were asked if they wanted the Mexican consulate to be notified, and they declined, which I can understand. Maybe some of you guys could tell me more about that. I know I have people, a lot of my convicted hearts in Mexico and here too, and all over the world, so some of you that might have some knowledge of deportation and things like that could probably fill in the blanks a bit in the comment section. This is just super upsetting. $1 million bond for one of them, probably the one that wasn't charged with capital murder, and the other 2, one of them is 1.5 million and the other one is a 1.52 million because he was also charged with a marijuana charge, which is, I don't know, to me at this point it seems petty to add that to this list of charges, but who am I to say? I mean, I'm looking at this as a mom, not as a, obviously, prosecutor or whatever. It blows my mind to think about. When you guys see the way these boys look, you will understand why I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around these charges. So Juan Gonzalez, the FAR police deputy chief, that's who spoke in the news briefing that I'm speaking about. And it was, okay, yeah, Alejandro is not the one being charged with capital murder because it was determined that his brother and the friend are the ones who gave the fatal blows. So some way, somehow, they've already determined who gave the fatal blows to the creep that was dumped in the field and found by a farmer. Here's the things that upset me personally, and I'm speaking for myself. Number 1 would be that these boys found out on the spot that their sister had been assaulted, and they found out in that moment, right then and there, and they reacted. I feel like they should, I don't know the law enough to know, but I feel like that should grant them some sort of leniency. I mean, that's extremely traumatic. I cannot imagine finding that out and this guy standing in front of you right when you hear about it, you're going to react. And yeah, of course, both brothers react. I'm surprised if, I don't know who else was there. I mean, if the mother was there and if she heard the same thing, I would have, God forbid, absolutely been right in the mix of it. I'm hoping and praying that she was not aware of this prior, because God forbid, you know, and I'm sure she wasn't. I don't mean to say that, but he did have a warrant out for something like this, so I don't know. Also, they're teens and very young adults in the state of Texas, and I have heard that Texas goes very hard on sentencing, so some of you can maybe clear that up for me too. And being charged with capital murder, and I did hear the judge when he was reading off the charges, he did tell the two of them that were charged with capital murder that the sentence could be death or life without parole in prison. That's crazy. Looking at them, I don't get it. I did make notes because I was pretty upset watching this and hearing about it. But I feel like it's important to speak about. You know, sometimes things are uncomfortable and they're not always fun or pleasant or pretty to hear about. But most of us anyways, have kids. Even if you don't, you might have nieces, nephews, friends, whatever. We have to look out for our kids and for each other's kids. So, oh wow. Yeah, I mean, the shock of the 9-year-old confessing to her mom. What I was referring to in this one is, can you imagine, let's say the mom didn't know. I'm hoping she didn't know about his previous victims or alleged victims. And of course, I'm praying she didn't know what was going on with her own daughter. If she found out in that very moment what her daughter says had happened, then her two sons instantly attack the stepfather, allegedly. The mom saw this, the 9-year-old sister saw this right after she finally reached out for help. Can you imagine how traumatizing that's going to be for this little girl? She finally opens her mouth, she finally reaches out for help, and then something terrible happens, right? So this little girl could very likely carry that with her for the rest of her life and think, because I said something, now both of my brothers are gone, and now, I mean, as sick as the man was, I'm sure the little girl is going to feel some kind of way because that was her dad. I mean, I've heard of things like that before, and I'm not trying to judge that. She's a child. Like, I can only imagine what she's feeling. I feel really terrible for her and her mom and the boys. So losing two sons, dealing with her sons, losing two sons, dealing with her 9-year-old daughter who has just admitted to the abuse that was taking place, and then the killing of her husband. I'll just leave that there because I will not have anything nice to say about him. I just want to know, why was Quintanilla even free if this warrant was out for his arrest on at least one or several children? Why would he even have the opportunity to be around his own child? And I'm assuming if they lived in a trailer park, there was many other children there. I only say that because it's normally an area, I mean, that's homes in close proximity, so I'm sure there was lots of children there. I cannot imagine why he would have not been picked up or why they would have not known where he was. So I just thought it was important to bring this to your guys' attention. Like I said, I'll link the paper I read it from, put their picture in my thumbnail. I'm just really concerned about this because these boys are being charged in Texas for one, and with capital murder. Yes, the man was beat to death, okay, we get that. But it was under such a distressing circumstance. I would hope that that somehow grants some sort of leniency on them. And I hope that their mom has enough of her mind with her that she fights for her sons and realizes that this is a trauma that, yes, it happened to her daughter, her sons, her entire family. And unfortunately, she's got to pick up all the pieces now, and she's got to be the strong one for all of them. This is the kind of tragedies that take place when either nobody's looking or nobody's talking. I have seen this happen to other families, maybe not the killing of the perv, but I've seen this type of abuse take place, and in very, very close situations. I've experienced things like that as well. Maybe not to that degree, and definitely not from a relative of mine, but my prayers go out to the little girl, to the boys, to the mom. You're going to need all the strength you can get. You need to fight for your boys and fight for your daughter to get the help that she needs. I would love to know what you guys think down in the comment section. Do you guys think it would help if somebody started a petition now to maybe take things into consideration? I feel like maybe there's organizations out there that will volunteer to help simply because of the boys' ages. So I'm hoping that's a possibility. They looked really scared in the video. In their mugshot, they look like they're trying to be tough. At least one of them does. The other two look kind of in shock, the brothers. But who wouldn't? I mean, they're literally being booked into an adult jail at that point. I'm sure they wanted to look tough going in there. They're probably terrified. I can't imagine. I can't imagine. So with that said, just look out for your little ones. Look out for your friends' little ones, your neighbors. And if you know that somebody's a creep, let those kids know. I do that. If I know of someone that's registered, and I don't do this in a threatening way, I know not everybody, but it's frowned upon to point people like that out, but I do let my kids know. And I will let other children know if I see one of them locally in my neighborhood that I know of, because I'm sorry, I'm not taking any chances. And I know that it's a touchy subject only because there is one offender that still lives locally that harmed my foster sister throughout her childhood before she came to live with us. And she passed away 3 weeks ago. And she passed away alone. And she lived a very traumatic, very sad life. And I don't think she ever got over the things that happened to her. So I feel a special hatred towards this person that did that to her. So I exposed him. I mean, he's on the registry list, but I was pointing him out once to my kids, and I was told by a police officer that it was actually a crime to do that. It was considered a hate crime because these creeps are protected by some way in the law. I don't get it, but let's face it, this guy got what he probably would have got had he made it to prison anyhow. So as far as he goes, I mean, he's going to be judged, or he has been judged wherever he went. That's none of my business. So my prayers are for the boys, the mom, the daughter. I hope the right thing happens. I hope the boys get the help that they deserve, and I hope that they are able to live a life and get out from where they're at eventually and make a life for themselves. I'm sorry if I was all over the place, you guys. This one just hits me very close to home. I'm very passionate about protecting our children and keeping them safe from these type of people. So I just wanted to speak about it. Until next time, let me know what you think down in the comments. If you like my content, check some other videos out, like and subscribe, and share with a friend. All my love, Jen with Convicted Hearts.